Thank you very much, and a warm welcome from my side in the name of Public Health Switzerland and Swiss Hepatitis to this symposium. I think we expect a very interesting and a great afternoon with great speakers. And it's an honor to start this symposium with presenting you our milestones. As you know, Swiss Hepatitis has the goal of elimination of hepatitis B and C, and we have defined in our process paper in the version 4 from January 2019, we have defined milestones on the way to elimination, and I will guide you through these milestones. And our first targets were defined for 2020, which is this year, and show you where we have already achieved the targets, where we are in behind, and where we have lacks of knowledge and lack of data. So these are our targets as they are in the process paper, which you can access on our website. It's about incidence, mortality, chronic cases, liver transplants and liver cancer, but also service coverage targets like vaccination coverage of hepatitis B and the hepatitis C diagnosis rates. So let's go into the middle of this data. If we come to incidence of hepatitis C, there you can see that we had 2016 when we had the situation analysis from the Federal Office on Public Health on the epidemiological situation of hepatitis B and C in Switzerland. That's our most important source of data. And in this year, we had an incidence of 43 hepatitis C new cases, acute cases that were reported. Of course, there is an underreporting because it's a mostly asymptomatic disease, but if we follow these numbers over years, I think it gives us a good clearance. And we defined a reduction of 30% as our goal for 2020, which ends up with 30 per year. And we came up in the current status with 27 acute cases in 2019, which shows that we are on track with the incidence of hepatitis C. Incidence of hepatitis B, it's quite similar, 44 cases in 16, 30% reduction leading to 31 cases in 2020 as a goal, and we end up with 28 acute cases in hepatitis B in 2019. So here there's a clear trend towards further decrease of the incidence. So when it comes to incidence, we can say that we are on track to achieve our goals of elimination. A bit more difficult is mortality rate. It's very difficult to assess mortality rate in Switzerland. We have no good structure to assess that. There was a study done by Olivia Kaiser and her team in 2016 on the mortality of hepatitis B and C, showing that there's a huge range, and the lower bottom part of the range is a 2,000 death rate due to hepatitis C per year. And we defined a goal of reduction of 20% from 2016 to 2020, resulting in 160 deaths per year. In 2017, that's the last data we have, and there you see one of the problems. It's a clear lack of yearly data. It was 173 cases per year. We don't know where we stay in this year. Even worse for hepatitis B, there we have no current data. It's very difficult to measure, to calculate these figures. There we have just a blind flight. If we look at the viremic cases, of hepatitis C from the situation analysis that I mentioned, an estimation of 40,000 chronic hepatitis C cases in 16, and we defined a reduction goal of 30% to this year, which would be 28,000 goals, which should be mainly achieved by successful treatment. And there we have a very rough calculation of the current status. By the number of treated patients we know, which are 8,700, and those who have died since then, ending up with 31,000 chronic cases. I think there is a lot of uncertainty here with the chronic cases, and I think we have to go into this data again in the future to see whether we are on the right level, because we have no really robust prevalence data from the general population in Switzerland. And one remark to the hepatitis C treatments, which you see here in the red bars, from 2014 on the far left to 2020. In the far right, you see a ongoing decrease in the treatment rates from 2018 to 2020, and currently we are on a treatment uptake level of the pre-DAA era, so we treat about as many patients as we have treated with interferon, which is definitely not enough to achieve the goal of further decreasing significantly the viremic cases and all the sequelae based on that. Looking at the liver transplantation data, we will have a talk on this topic this afternoon. There we are quite on track with the 2020 goal, almost achieved the goal of 35 cases per year, but there is a clear tendency towards a decrease, which is in the sense of our strategy. For liver cancer, we just don't know. I think this is one of the biggest gaps we have, despite we have a liver Swiss cancer registry. We do not have this data available at this moment. We don't know where we are. When it comes to the service targets, the hepatitis B vaccination, since the definition of the goal of the vaccination coverage, there has been a change in the strategy of hepatitis B vaccination. Nowadays, it's recommended to vaccinate not young adults, but newborns, and I think this will help to achieve this goal of higher coverage, but currently we do not know how the coverage is in 2020. Again, unclear is the situation with HCV diagnosis rates. We had a very rough estimation in 2016 of about 24,000 patients who were aware of the diagnosis, and we defined an increase of 10% by 2020, but we do not know. We have no idea where we stay at this moment. So to come to a conclusion, monitoring is essential. Otherwise, we don't know where we go with our strategy. We have to monitor our goals. We have to have these tools, and the monitor shouldn't be black. But at the moment, we have several black monitors, and this has to be changed. I think that's one of our most important tasks for the next year, to have everything clear on the screen where we go to, and to adapt our measures accordingly. Otherwise, we continue with a blind flight, which we are currently with mortality, with cancer cases and the chronic rate. We are clearly in a blind flight, and we don't know where we go, and this has to be changed. So that's from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm ready to take questions.